On today's episode of The Real, I break down why I think the Browns really looked good Sunday offensively against the Ravens and what were some of the key changes made that helped the offense finally score more than 20 points and get the win. And I also explain why I think there's certain things they need to keep doing moving forward to continue that success. All that and more next. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Labin. I am Joseph Labin. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome on back into The Real. If you're new here, please subscribe for me. Hit the like button for me on the way in as well. It's the best way you can support this channel. And yeah, hope you guys having a great week. It's been a victory week finally here in Cleveland. Haven't had that in a long time. It feels like it's been forever since before Sunday since the Browns actually won a game, and which I'm glad they did because it was getting a little depressing. I'll be honest with you guys talking about the Browns on the show. I mean, because everything was just seemed to be so much negativity just going around, just the internet, just amongst fans, the media. It was just a lot of bad things in terms of just like the morale of covering the Browns. Even it just felt all of it just seemed really bad, right? And so Sunday was like a breath of fresh air. And again, I'm glad I got the win for in honor of Jim Donovan as well. Um, but there was also some things Sunday that really stood out to me on the field as well, which I want to get into today. And obviously the big ones offensively. That's been the big topic all year. You know, when Deshaun Watson was in there, the offense just seemed to really stutter. Kevin Stefanski was still calling plays at that time as well. And so, two things that the two biggest changes that were made for me, to me, of why the two big changes, why I think will help them set them up for success last Sunday, which was number one, obviously a more confident quarterback in Jameis Winston. I think when you watch Deshaun Watson's tape, when he was in the first whatever 6, 7 games he was in there, 7 games rather, he just didn't look confident at all. He didn't look confident, and he wasn't hitting his layups a lot. Just the simple little out routes, um, simply timing throws. Just simple passes in the intermediate routes in the middle of the field, even at times, um, or just hitting your check down. He wasn't doing that a lot consistently, and he didn't look great to me mechanically. I thought when he dropped back a lot, when he would drop back and would make a step to step up, I just thought at times a lot he just looked kind of uneven. His back foot looked like it was just like mechanically. He just didn't look. It just looked off. It didn't look very compact. It didn't look very like quick and fast. It just looked very long. And a lot of the play calls at that time, in my opinion, were a lot of longer developing play calls as well. And there wasn't a lot of commitment to the run game early on in the season. The offensive line has been bound with a lot of injuries. Didn't look great at times either. Missed assignments, bad blocking concepts up front in the run game. In the pass pro, they just didn't communicate well. There was just a lot of bad, right? The Browns offense was a mess the first 7 games of the season, an absolute mess. And obviously, the most important piece is your quarterback. But I would also say, too, the most important piece is the person who's involved in the game planning during the week and is going to be calling the plays on Sunday as well, and putting their quarterback in position to be successful on Sundays, helping them out in the game. And I thought Kevin Stefanski through those first 7 games, I thought it was his worst performance as a coach that I've seen in the 4 or 5 years he's been here. He's been here since 2020, so yeah, this is his fifth season. It was the worst performance I've seen from him. Um, Yeah, they just looked unprepared at times. They're the most penalized team in the league. That falls back on your head coach. He's head coach of the team, the most penalized team in the league. A lot of those penalties were offensively. Missed assignments, having 12 guys on the field. That's his fault. Um, you know, there was just a lot of procedural penalties and stuff like that. They just looked very unorganized, sloppy, and unprepared. But Sunday was completely, almost like a 180 from what we've seen all year, just from the preparation, the organization. There wasn't that many of those kind of penalties. They looked a lot more organized. They looked more sharp. They had rhythm in the offense. The run blocking and pass blocking itself looked better. Communication was better. Everything was better because it all seemed to be more organized, and the guy behind center was a lot more confident and was hitting his layups. And also has almost 10 years of experience under his belt as well in the NFL, and that certainly helps, being a veteran. And he's also 6'4", can stand in the pocket, doesn't try to ad lib. One thing Deshaun likes to do at times, he likes to ad lib. He'll escape the pocket too early when he really should just stand in the pocket, step up, and make some throws. He likes to, kind of ad lib a little bit. And one of the other major changes was Ken Dorsey was handed over play calling last week, and I saw a difference in the offense from it on Sunday. I know a lot of people want to generalize and give you a lot of stats and analytics and say that it's all just Jameis Winston being the quarterback, but I think you would have to be a little naive or really question whether did you watch the game or not if you think that Ken Dorsey calling the plays didn't really have a major impact on that game Sunday, because it certainly did. Just the play calls himself and the certain plays he would call in a row to set up a bigger path, to set up the bigger plays, right? He would call 2 runs in a row, which I'm going to show a touchdown drive after the Ravens went up 17-13, where he called 2 runs in a row, and the runs themselves were great running calls. Great blocking up front. We actually saw a wham block from a tight end this game, which I know Bernie Kosar's been screaming for on Cleveland Airways, and I agree with Bernie. And those runs and those shorter, quick getting the ball out, shorter passes, shorter routes, quicker routes, where the ball can get out quicker, was able to set up more of the 15 or more yard shots down the field, which they completed. And I also think Cedric Tillman, what he's shown on tape this game and some of the games before, especially the game before this one, but this one in particular, his best game of his career, he was really getting open a lot. I think a lot. He was getting more open at times than Amari Cooper was showing here when he was in Cleveland, especially more of the down the field routes, and he was actually catching the ball. Cedric Tillman, um, guys just look to be a lot more energized and enthused because I feel like the rhythm of the offense and just the play calling and just the way and Jameis was executing it just how he needed to. Um, and then the commitment to the running game, also getting Nick Chubb back helps a lot as well, and also having a healthier O line. That O line Sunday was the best performance we've seen all year, and it was the healthiest they've probably been all year as well. And so, but they look really good, and everything looks sharp. Now, yes, Sunday they did go against the worst passing defense in the NFL. The Baltimore's not a great passing defense. I think they ranked 32nd in the whole NFL. You also had no Nate Wiggins. You also had no Marlon Humphrey out there for them as well. So it was a perfect setting. It was a beautiful day out, gorgeous day, great day to throw the ball around the lot. You have all that change. You're healthy on the O line finally, and you really had nothing to lose if you were the Browns on Sunday either. I mean, you were 1-6 going into the game, and so you're going against the worst passing defense in the league. So it was a perfect setting for a guy like Jameis Winston, and for Ken Dorsey for their first outings of the year as play caller and starting quarterback to really go out there and have a nice tune-up game um, in terms of the passing game and really just find a rhythm and see what they got. And it looked really good. And so one thing that really stood out to me, though, again, was the running concept. So I'm going to break down some film here. And this one play in particular, the first play of this drive, you know, um, this is in the second quarter, I believe. Yes. And so, no, excuse me, first quarter. And so the Ravens have kicked the ball off. And just, I'm going to show one play from this drive right here. But I just love how this running concept here. Now, watch the tight end here, number 89, how he cracks down. It's called a wham block. We haven't seen a lot of this year in Cleveland. A lot of the runs we saw early on in the season were, number one, they were in the gun. So it's nice to see Jameis under center. But also, even sometimes when they were under center, when Deshaun Watson was in, they was more just head up blocking. There wasn't a lot of wham blocks. It was more just zone running, um, with Jerome Ford, hoping he finds a crease. And they didn't, it was, only get 2-3 yards a pop. And a lot of times, too, this is the first down, first down play call as well. A lot of times on first down this year as well, they were throwing the ball. And so it was nice to see them run the ball more because sequences matter in football. And as somebody who played football, and you ask anybody else, a lot of former players and coaches and guys people I've learned from, football is a game of sequences, right? First and second down, they go together. Third down's a sequence in itself, situational football. First and second down's a situation in itself. Third down's a situation, um, because you have to get the first down or you have to punt, right? Red zone is a situation, right? Football is a game of situations, a situational game, not sequence. Excuse me, I misspoke. I think you could say sequences, but situational. It's a situational game, right? And so that when you what you call on first and second down will determine whether what you have to do on third down. And so that's why they go together, first and second down. And so when you run the ball more and you're able to get 4 or 5 yards a pop on a run on first down, now on second down maybe you could take a shot, because if you miss it, you still got third and manageable. Or maybe you hit an under, you get the shot down the field. That's even better. Or if the shot's not there, maybe you get a check down, get 2 more yards, but you're still at third and manageable, right? You're not behind the sticks. You're on schedule. And the Browns a lot of times this year, with the play calls they had on first down and then the quarterback not actually executing the plays, it put them behind schedule a lot. But just something a little simple like this in the run game with the tight end here, cracking down and then sealing another block. I mean, number 84 there, that's an incredible. You see how pumped up he is, and he should. That's just a great running play with Nick Chubb doing what he does, cutting back. But again, just a simple little wham block like that put into the running play, which we haven't seen a lot of this year. That's an adjustment made. I saw made on Sunday, was just this right here. Boom. And then sealing another block. And he really didn't have to crack down on the nose because um, the Poaches there does a great job holding the block, which allowed the tight end to make that seal right there. Right there, goes off and bam. I mean, just little things like that. Early in the season, we didn't see that. I remember there was a play against the Raiders where it was kind of similar to this. It was a zone running scheme, and DeJuan Jones, they would have the tight end would block this end, and we would have DeJuan Jones, or whoever at tackle, just double teaming this guy when really you don't need two guys on one guy way out here when the play's here. And so you just need to seal him. And so it's nice to see them using the tight end now, moving inside and wham blocking, which opens up that hole more. That's how you open up the line of scrimmage, was little things like this, which did not do. And so this is an adjustment I saw already on Sunday in the running game. And you see Chubb cutting back, and you get almost a 15-yard gain. And so that's the first thing that stood out to me on Sunday, was not only the commitment to the run, but little wrinkles like that in the run game, calling more wham blocks, calling and just opening up those holes, right? The communication looked better, committing to the run game. People talk about the offensive line, how bad they played early on the season. That offensive line they've never really won a line of scrimmage in any of those games up until Sunday. And I think a lot of that is because when you're throwing the ball so much, especially on first and second down, your O-line's constantly in pass protection. You can't impose your will as an O-lineman in pass protection. You're just dropping back and protecting the quarterback. How do you impose your will in the running game? Running game is one-on-one, mano-a-mano, or your assignment downhill, right? Mano-a-mano, and just ground and pound and pushing your defender down the field and opening up the holes, right? That's how you impose your will as an offensive lineman, and how you can allow your line to impose their will. And we saw that on Sunday. And I think you saw a more energized offensive line because of that. And I could say that as somebody who played offensive line. I played center growing up and won a national championship. And I remember just we would play against some of those teams that were a lot bigger than us and stuff. We would still commit to the run game. Because I remember when we won, we were 13 years old. We were playing against teams that were 15 years old, guys that were much bigger than us. And some of those teams that had those 15-year-old guys, I wasn't, I was probably an undersized center, but my coach would always commit to the run game early on because it allowed us to impose our will. You know what I mean? And dominate up front, in which we did a lot of games, which helped us win that championship. And also we had great running backs as well. And it helped us later on down the game where when we had to throw the ball more. That defensive line is now tired because we've been going one-on-one all game and more of the run game and more of those physical running plays like that because we imposed our will, right? I can't say it any clearer. They allowed them to the O-line because of the running game on Sunday, especially in the first half, where they were able to impose their will. So that's the first adjustment I saw. Um, the second adjustment I saw was after they committed to the run game was the shots they were taking down the field after. And there's a lot of the plays, the play calling itself, the routes. I saw Elijah Moore run a lot of out routes on Sunday, just quicker plays. And what Jameis Winston did better than Deshaun Watson was what I call layups, right? Where you would have Elijah Moore running a simple little 5-yard out route. He's already open by the time he breaks out of it. Jameis will get the ball out and hit him. Now, there was a couple times where he got the ball maybe a little late. Like I remember the first drive in the first quarter, Elijah Moore ran an out route to the right side. He was open by the time he broke. Jameis threw it a little late, and Elijah one-handed it, and the play went backwards. But overall, though, he was hitting those layups. But I thought a lot of the route concepts were better. And when they did take the shots down the field after they would establish the run, it was more in the middle of the field as well. And so I'm going to show these plays here. This is a touchdown drive in the second quarter. So the Ravens just went up 17-13. And this is a big drive here coming up. You're down 4 points. You're about to go into the half. And you really need to score here to keep yourself in the game against a team like the Ravens when you have Lamar Jackson on the other side. And so let me fast forward here. Excuse me, I have this queued up. All right. A little too far. But again, watch the sequence of the play calling here and just how it sets up the pass and they establish rhythm offensively and how they move the ball right down the field right here. I mean, this was a beautiful drive. And so again, the Ravens just score, and so the Browns get the kickoff. The first play of the drive, what do? 1st and 10. They're out there in 11 personnel. They run the ball, and you get about 5-6 yards or more. I think it was a 7-yard gain they called it. But again, your first play of the drive, you run the ball first, and a really good running play there. Chubb's so good at cutting back. Man, Chubb is so good. He's so fun to watch. Such a great running back. It looked pretty good Sunday too. But what do they do after that? Right? So you get 7 yards. So now you have 2nd and 3. What do the Browns do? We'll just run the ball. What does Ken Dorsey call? We're just going to run the ball again. Right? We just popped off 7 yards on that running play, excuse me. We're going to go under center again. We're going to line up front and we're going to hand the ball off again. And what does Nick Chubb do? You see here, I like the motion pre-snap. Chubb does a great job. Gets another big run. A first down run. It's about another 7-8 yards right there. And I like that they call the running plays back to back. I haven't seen a lot of that this year. And you can see the O-line a lot more energized, just a lot more. They've been running the ball more in this first half. So now, because of that, now what does Ken Dorsey do? Okay, we just ran the ball successfully. We just had two successful runs on the first 2 plays of the drive. This is an important drive. Now we can call play action. And you can see here, look at the box here. Sorry for this here, but look at the box here. Now the Ravens load the box. You got 9 guys down here in the box because you just ran the ball 2 straight times. You had 2 big runs. So the Ravens are now adjusting. They say, okay, we're going to load the box now, Cleveland. You're basically showing the same thing. You're under center, right? You're in the same formation and same personnel group. So what does Ken Dorsey call? Let's call play action. And I love the play call here as well. I like how the route is veered toward the middle of the field. And as you can see, they have a single eye safety up top. They got 9 down in the box. Middle of the field should be wide open. And right there, Jerry Jeudy runs a great route. And boom, you get a big play. But again, this is set up because of the running, because you ran the ball on the first 2 plays and the successful runs. And you saw the wham blocks early on in the game. So there was a commitment to the run in the first quarter. They carried it into the second quarter. And now it opens up things like this to where you can take these kinds of shots down the field. So now the defense has to load the box. You call a great play against it. Dig route in the middle of the field. Beautiful. One more time. And again, we weren't hitting these types of routes early on in the season. Number one, because you had a quarterback that would try to ad lib and invade. He would leave the pocket too early, but also committing to the. I mean, look at the block there by Wyatt Teller, but also the commitment to the run game on the first and second down on the first two plays sets this up. That's being a great puppet master. To be a great play caller, you have to be a great puppet master. And that's what Ken Dorsey did there. And one more time from the back end. You can see here, nice job by Jameis staying in the pocket and delivering the ball. Again, it was nice to see a quarterback stay in the pocket and deliver the ball. And then after that, what do? We'll go right back to the running game. And excuse me, not this play, the next game. So they try a pass there, it's incomplete. So now they're going to go back to the running game. They're not going to keep trying to throw in the ball, keep trying to jam the ball down the field, throw. I don't mind this play call here. You just had a big one. Why not try to be aggressive again? But again, I like this play call right here because watch what it sets up after. You got all the momentum. You got them on your heels. Another running play. And again, you get about 4 or 5 yards. It's a successful running play. Keeps you on schedule. And number 84 then, let's see, cracks down. Nice job by Wyatt getting out to the second level. Really good. The blocking in this game and the run game and everything was just so much better. Some of the concepts and just it just looks a lot. That time, this is another. That's another adjustment in the running game. You see here, we're actually pulling the guard again. We haven't done this a whole lot. Little things like this we have not done this season. We were calling more of the just running zone scheme where we just run the ball and it'd be head up on the O line. And you can see the difference here in this game. So I showed you the wham block earlier. And you see on this play here, now it needs to go back to the run, but now we're going to pull the guard. We're going to open up that gap more of a gap scheme running. And look what happens. You fall right behind where you pulled and you get 4 or 5 yards. Again, another little adjustments in the run game, wham blocking, pulling the guards. And then after that, what does this set up again? It's going to set up another deep shot. You look in the box. I mean, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys down in the box now. You got 2 out wide. They're man to man. One safety over here on the left hash. So watch Tillman here. This is a really good play call here. A great read by Jameis as well. Seeing this pre-snap. And Tillman's going to run right across the middle of the field for a touchdown. But again, committing to the run, and it opens up a quick, easy play like that where the ball gets out quick, runs a quick slant in the middle of the field. Shot right in the middle of the field. Boom. Touchdown. But again, great play calling that drive off of the run game. Committing to the run sets up the bigger passes. Tell you what, Cedric Tillman runs some really nice routes. He ran some really good routes this game, and ran a lot of different kinds of them too. Great drive, great play calling by Ken Dorsey. And so that's the one adjustment I saw in this game, or a couple adjustments I saw in this game, excuse me, was just the play calling itself, and then also the running plays himself, the blocks in the scheme, the wham blocking, pulling the guards, the little adjustments like that in the running game, and then also it set up the bigger passes, and then the passing plays themselves were great. They were exploiting the middle of the field. You have a blitz heavy a team like Baltimore. They blitz really heavy on Sunday, and they exploited those middle parts of the field that are wide open, and you get the big plays like that. And so, football really is. It could be a simple game. I mean, I think a lot of people nowadays they just overcomplicate with all the data and all this analytics and stuff. Football really is a simple game, and I thought what Ken Dorsey did as a play caller on Sunday was he simplified the game for the quarterback. And that's exactly what you saw in that drive there, just with the little again, like I said, the little adjustments in the running game and and the passing concepts themselves were really good. And it took a lot of pressure off Jameis Winston, where Jameis just had to sit back, and Jameis did a great job of just sitting in the pocket and hitting the layups. But again, it was all set up by the great play calling from upstairs from Ken Dorsey. And so, the last drive itself, another great drive. And what I loved about this last drive, let me fast forward to it from Ken Dorsey, um, was how he set up how he worked this game-winning drive and how he set up the bigger play down the stretch at the end to Cedric Tillman for the game-winning touchdown. And let's see, we got it right here. Yes. All right. Excuse me. And so I got it written down, but fast forward in the all 22. I don't know if other people out there use all 22. Fast forwarding on the all 22 is not the easiest of things. But here we go. And so game winning drive, Ravens just scored. Could have threw a flag on that guy. But anyways, and so I like how they come out here. The first play of the drive, just a quick pass. Let's get some rhythm going, right? Let's get some rhythm established on this opening drive here. Nice little out route to Elijah Moore. Now, again, actually, I got it mixed up. This was the play I was talking about. I thought it was in the first quarter. I meant the first play of the game winning drive. And so, right here, Jameis probably should already have had this ball out. I think he threw this ball a little late here, a little behind. I like the play call, trying to get some rhythm established. Now they're going to come back to this later on. If Jameis is going to hit it on time. Now right here, Jameis, he's already looking, but this ball probably should already be out right here. Ball should already be out, but he throws it a little late, and the play goes backwards. Nice one-handed catch by Elijah, but the ball should already been out right there. Ball should be out, but he waited a little late. Play went back, but they're going to come back to this. But I like the play call though, coming out on this game-winning drive here, trying to establish some rhythm. Let's see, trying to move down the field here. Again, another quick pass. I like this in the middle of the field. Cedric Tillman, remember we ran some of these plays from early on in the season. He would drop the passes like the one against the Giants. Here, though, he catches the ball, tough catch. But again, I like the play call. A quick pass in the middle of the field, establish some rhythm. Now you're already down to the 45-yard line. And so, again, two quick passes. Now, one of them went backwards, but that one there, nice little rhythm. So now you're almost at midfield after you completed the one in the middle. And so again, two really good play calls there. Quick, decisive passes. That's what you want. Rhythm, 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 rhythm. It's not a coincidence to me that both of the two sacks in this game were off of longer developing routes. Routes that were when all three receivers were running 15 or more yards down the field. That's kind of a lot of what we saw in the first 6 weeks when Kevin Stefanski was calling the plays in Ken Dorsey's offense that he brought in. A lot of those sacks were Deshaun holding the ball, but also a lot of them were, and also the offensive line missing blocks. But I think a lot of them also were the offensive play caller not helping out his quarterback in terms of calling quicker, precise plays, getting the ball out quicker, like we see here. It negates a lot of that from happening. And it's not a coincidence that, like I said, the two sacks in this game, you go watch them on the all 22 replay, all of the routes were 15 or more yards down the field. And so he didn't call a lot of those. He would just call certain shots down the field with one receiver. And so Ken Dorsey did a nice job again of helping out his quarterback in this game. The next play, so you just got that one. I think they're trying to get the PI call here. He did have David Njoku open right there, but he predetermined where he's going with this ball. I think he saw the press coverage up front. Jerry Jeudy was supposed to come back to the ball here. I think he was trying to get the flag here, but he did have David open in the middle of the field. He would have been a little more patient. But what does Ken Dorsey do after this? I thought was interesting on this drive. He goes right back to the same play call. And so here's a replay from the back end. Didn't get the flag. I'm not mad at that. He did have David in the middle of the field. But he comes back to a similar concept, and this time they hit it. Jerry Jeudy finally he gets open on the comeback this time because the guy wasn't grabbing him, and they get the first down. But you can see it's almost the exact same play call. They come right back to it. And now they get the first down. And I like how they're working the sideline as well when a team like the Ravens, now they're playing man press, um, going one-on-one on the outsides. But again, quicker, precise routes, 10 yards or less. That's what we've seen so far. And now, because of that, you're past midfield. Now you're in their 44-yard line. Again, another quick pass. I like this. I like that we're just taking what the defense is giving us, working our way down the field. Take your time. Take your time. Keep chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. There's no need to hurry. There's no need to force the ball down the field. This is really good play calling here by Ken Dorsey on this game-winning drive. And nice job by Jameis staying in the pocket and delivering the ball. Looks a lot like a confident quarterback. And so now the next play here, not executed well. When you watch the All-22, I'll say on these screenplays, I think there's one negative I have from this game was the screenplays. They weren't executed properly, a lot of them. They didn't really develop how they were supposed to. I thought the receivers maybe weren't cutting back to your receiver on these types of plays right here. This guy's going to go block up here. It's a screenplay. The joke is supposed to block this guy. I would assume this guy's going to block this guy, but although you see a lot of Jack Conklin moving out here. Let's take a look at this here, how they designed this. So that is Pierre Strong. So Pierre Strong does go out. So they have three guys. So they're pulling this guy out to the safety over the top, I believe. I could be, to the other corner guarding the Joku. Okay. Yeah, excuse me. And so, yeah, that makes sense. All right. I'm having a brain for it, but I should know this stuff. But yeah, so the Joku's going to take this guy's man opposite because he's the screen catcher. He's the ball catcher here. This guy's going to take this guy, and they're going to pull, or no, this guy's going to take this guy, and they want Conklin here to pull out to this guy. And so obviously the concept here is for all these three guys, you want a man counted on them, and for this guy to go up and cut back to here. And we call this in football, a lot of coaches, my coach call it a lot of the sidewalk, right? On a screenplay, how a screenplay is supposed to be ran is you want your ball catcher to run inside of these blocks, right? Not outside. You want them to run inside. Write down the numbers. The numbers are called we call it the sidewalk. That's what my coaches call it. I know a lot of coaches in the NFL call it that too in college. The sidewalk, right? It's like running down the sidewalk, the numbers. But that's one negative, though. You can look at a lot of their screenplays this game. There were some of them that weren't executed properly. And I'm curious, too. Did they pull out Teller out there? No, okay. Yeah, so they want him to go out there. Huh. I'm looking at the play design itself. Yeah, it just wasn't executed properly. But I'm sure that's something they'll clean up this week. I'm sure Dorsey will take a look at it. Probably something to work on more in practice, is connecting on some of those screen passes. But here we go to the next play now. And I believe this is the same. Yes, it is. And there it is. You see that time he throws it on time. So remember the first play of this drive? He was a little late on the out route. Here, Jameis Winston does a nice job of delivering it on time. Right there, the ball's already out. And look, the ball's already out. And now that's time he had to throw it out. And he does this with a guy in his face, which was really impressive here. Really impressive throw. Even if that guy wasn't already in the backfield, though, that ball should already be out anyways. Remember, like I showed you on that first play, but this time he gets the ball out, say route, and they get the first down and connect on it for a plus play. Not going backwards like the first time, because he does a really nice job here getting the ball out. And again, one guy was unaccounted for here. The Ravens were sending 6-7 guys a lot of the game, and so not much to do, but he does a nice job there adapting to it, Jameis Winston, getting the ball out quicker, which is something that wasn't done a lot by Deshaun, getting the ball out quicker like that. A lot of times we would hold the ball or we try to throw it into the dirt. Jameis does a nice job, like I said, sitting in that pocket and delivering the ball. It looks a lot more confident. And so let's see here. Procedural penalty here on the Browns. So now you're backed up 5 yards. Don't want that. But here's my one criticism of Jameis Winston. He played a great game for a guy that stepped in for his first start of the season. And I thought Ken Dorsey did a hell of a job calling plays and helping him out. But my one critique, though, with Jameis, which has been his critique throughout his career, he can throw some picks. He can get a little wild with the ball. And so right here. He gets a little wild with the ball. I think if he would have actually stepped up in the pocket a little bit, he has the right idea. Elijah Moore's open, and hell, if he throws the ball out in front, Elijah may break this out for a touchdown. But I think what Jameis does here, and this he got lucky. We got a little lucky. Jameis did throw three interceptable passes this game. This was the biggest one. We really, in my opinion, that this guy should have caught this ball. I mean, as a DB, you can't get a better pass thrown to you to catch. I mean, this is lobbed in the air. I mean, right in the chest, and he dropped it. I know you're not a receiver, but my gosh, this would have sealed the game for Baltimore. So we got a break. We got a break for sure. We'll take it as Browns fans. But I thought Jameis here, when you watch him, if he would have just stepped up and been a little more patient for another second, just stepped up, he would have had that throw probably. Because what Jameis does here is he drops back, he sees him open, he just kind of lobs it over the top, and it was a terrible throw, which could have cost him the game. Right here, he just lobs it. Not a great throw. Should have been intercepted. We get a break. You watch here from the back view. Right here, Jameis drops back. He doesn't. He has time to step up. You look right here. If he just takes one step forward, I know this guy's veering around Chubb, which means you actually should step up. He should step up right here, hitch up, and where he can set his feet. You notice when he throws his ball here, he just kind of throws it off his front foot, and that's why the ball gets lobbed over the top. To me, he doesn't really. I know you're trying to get the ball out quick. They're blitzing you heavy. I think if he's just a little more patient right there, just step up and deliver that ball cleanly, you probably complete that pass. He had the right idea. But we catch a break there. We catch a big break. Now, again, this play call here, love it. And this route, this game-winning touchdown, this is all Cedric Tillman. All Cedric Tillman. I love the play calling from Ken Dorsey. Again, they're calling man all game long. Or not all game long, but they're calling man on this drive, this whole drive. You can see here the pre-snap motion. He falls. You identify their man, and so Elijah's got a safety on, or excuse me, Cedric Tillman's got a safety on him. What I meant to say is they're blitzing all game long. What they do here, though, the pre-snap motion, which we didn't see a lot of early in the season. You see their man. Jameis sees it. And I think what Jameis does a nice job here is identifying how the safety is dropping down in the box a little bit. He's sliding down a little bit. And you can see here he drops down. He identifies that. Look where Jameis's eyes. He already sees he sees where Tillman's going one-on-one here with a safety. But this is all Tillman. Look at this route here by Tillman. Really impressive. They blitz 7. Whoop. Wide open. Great pass by Jameis over the top. But again, that's all Cedric Tillman. Look at that route. Right there. Whoop. See ya. I love the aggressiveness. I like the play design. But I like, again, when you allow your quarterback to get in rhythm throughout the game, and how they did on this drive with the shorter passes, those shorter passes, those quick passes, they add up because they turn into big plays like this. Now your quarterback's in rhythm, and he hits these passes over the top like this. It's a great job by Ken Dorsey setting his quarterback up for success, right? Helping his quarterback out, and having a quarterback like Jameis who's confident and will sit in the pocket right here. You see, he doesn't move in the pocket. He stands right in that pocket, takes a little bump, delivers a beautiful ball. And so, to me, what helped on Sunday was not only the change of quarterback and having a more confident quarterback, but also one who will stand in the pocket and deliver the ball down the field, but also a play caller who understands the offense he created, right? Because remember, Kevin Stefanski was calling plays in an offense that he didn't create. They brought in Ken Dorsey to change the offense, mainly was supposed to be built around Deshaun Watson. And you remember the articles and you remember what Albert Breer said, and the articles I showed you back in the San Diego Browns video, where Paul DePodesta and Jimmy Haslam, this is from multiple sources like Albert Breer, Jonathan Jones, Tony Rizzo wrote it 2 years ago, people that actually cover the team, multiple sources. I know there's a lot of things out there, people trying to say, it's conspiracy. If you say Paul DePodesta has, what is he doing? We don't know what he does in the organization and all this, but they've made it pretty public what he does. He's pretty highly involved in the decision making, especially with the offense, and changing the offense this offseason, and why they wiped out a lot of that staff, fired coaches and brought in new ones. Again, a lot of that, he has a lot of influence on Jimmy Haslam. And so Jimmy Haslam wanted more of an air raid offense, which was shown by Jonathan Jones in the CBS article, which I showed in the show many times. I don't need to bring it up again. Um, but they brought in Ken Dorsey to bring more of an air raid offense, more better passing concepts down the field. Why is that? Were they wrong for that? No, I don't think they were wrong for that. I looking back at it now, they did need a different change, especially passing wise in the passing game, offensively. Kevin Stefanski was a former cornerback who was in and had 16 years in the same system, in the Gary Kubiak system, 16 years an assistant, and eventually a play caller in Minnesota around the same system. He's from after 16 years, that system, you're familiar with it. He tried calling plays in a system he had never called plays in before. And I think it was a lot of the reasons why they were a mess early on in the season. They didn't look great at all. Yes, Deshaun Watson was a big part of that as well, as bad as he was playing. But I don't think Kevin Stefanski, as the coordinator early on the season, did a great job helping his quarterback out either, and helping not even just the quarterback, but the offense was not set up to succeed a lot of times. They looked very unorganized, like I said, and a lot of the concepts just didn't look like something just looked off. And I mentioned this as an issue. I was concerned about that going into the season, and I even said it back in January, and I said it all the way through the offseason. I said, why is he calling play? They have to give up play calling. You can't call plays in a system you never called plays in before. And I got in arguments with people about it on the show. And I remember back in the offseason during training camp, I said he cannot call plays in a system he's never called plays in before. You don't bring in a guy to change your offense and then say, hey, I'm keeping the play calling. It's like coaching a game from outer space. And it's not a coincidence to me. The biggest change Sunday was not two things. Obviously having the more confident quarterback, but also, to me, to set up your quarterback for success, the foundation was allowing the guy you brought in to call the plays. And so I'm going to play something I said back in January on this show. Let me bring it up here. This was back in January 27th, 2024. And this is what I said on this show back then. I'm going to play it again right here of what I said back then. And so let's take a listen here. One second. My computer's acting real slow today, guys. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Today. And wrote down some notes here. Some of this is my observation into it. A lot. And I reached out to a coach yesterday and wrote down some notes here. Some of this is my observations as well from my playing experience and people I learned from. And I learned from some great players and former players and coaches. And but I reached out to a coach yesterday who was a 3-time national championship coach at the Division I level. And I asked him, and I said, I hit him up with a question, and I said, hey, what makes a good offensive coordinator, number one, but also, are you a fan of a head coach calling plays? And they gave some pretty interesting some answers to me. And one of the first part about what makes a good play caller is, number one, understanding the game at a really high level. Number two, what are you trying to get done? In terms of what are you trying to get done that game? Understanding what you need to do, how you need to attack defense, what their looks are, the fronts, what our splits are going to be, a lot of the details, cadences, tempo, football. Then it also comes down to personnel, the type of personnel you have. And a lot of that goes on the GM in the NFL. So it comes down to personnel, but also finding ways to get your great players the ball in their hands in the positive. And wait, what did he say? Sorry, I wrote this down. He said finding ways to get great players the ball in their hands that fits their skill sets, their strengths. So, for instance, if we asked Amari Cooper, right? Amari Cooper's our best receiver on the team. Amari Cooper's a great route runner. Can run any route, basically, especially the ones in the middle of the field or, working towards the middle of the field off the sideline, comebacks, quick slants. Amari can run a lot of those quick routes, and he's great at creating separation. He's just an awesome route runner. But Amari is not like a burner. Now, every now and then, from a great play call, which you saw like in the Texans game this year, Amari can beat somebody over the top because he catch the defense lagging, but he's not a guy that's consistently you're going to send on fly routes. He's not a burner. That's why you went and brought in a guy like Marquise Goodwin at the beginning of the year, last spring. Um, but it's like if we asked Amari Cooper to, you know, um, run 6 fly routes in a game, it's probably not going to work because it's not a good play call. You know what I mean? You want to get Amari the ball in different ways. Same thing with David Njoku. David's the guy you want to get him the ball in space. Let him get the ball and let him get out in space because his yak is unbelievable. If we ask David to run certain routes and do things constantly in a game doesn't do well, it's not gonna work. So, but again, that falls back on the play caller. And so those are some of his points he gave to me about that. And also he said, "What are some reasons why you don't want to?" Why I asked him, "Are you comfortable? What's your opinion on a head coach calling plays?" And he wasn't really a big fan of it, to be honest with you, and I'm not either. And I don't like where the NFL is actually trending in this way in terms of all these new, really young offensive mind guys taking over as head coaches, not only as head coaches of teams, but calling the plays too. And NFL is a copycat league, but I don't think it's working that well. That's why we're seeing so much turnover and change so much every offseason. Yeah, there's some teams that are making their teams might make the playoffs, but they don't. It's all about what you're doing in the playoffs. If our goal is just to make the playoffs every year, then Kevin shouldn't have fired anybody. They should have kept AVP in there and everybody in it because they would have made the playoffs next year probably. That's easy now with 7 teams. Make a wild card, especially if you got a shitty schedule. I don't think but is that our bar? Is just to make the playoffs? But again, I think that's why a lot of these other teams, look at the Dolphins. That's probably as far as the Dolphins ever going to go. I mean, Mike McDaniel's what in the hell are we talking? All right, so I'm gonna clean it up here because I kind of veered off in that episode, some other stuff. But I'm gonna finish up the point though. What I said after that because I found the notes right here from that show of the coach I reached out to, and again, a lot of stuff he said early on, identifying your personnel, putting guys in positions that fit their skill set. Well, I saw Ken Dorsey do a lot of that. And it's funny I brought up too in that episode back then in January about how I said we shouldn't send Amari Cooper on fly routes 6 times a game and deeper routes. You go watch the offense the first 7 games of the season, especially the first 5. We were doing that a lot. We were sending guys that were running a lot of deep routes that really were better off running more intermediate routes. And I saw Ken Dorsey adjust and have guys running more intermediate routes on Sunday. And we saw the quick slants, the out routes, the digs in the middle of the field that were set up off of the run. And some of the stuff he said to me as well about why you don't want your head coach being a play caller was you don't want your play caller to feel the emotions of the game. He has to be a chess player. Why was Ken Dorsey up in that booth on Sunday? Because he's in glass. That's why a lot of guys like to sit up in the booth behind glass because they don't feel the emotions down on the field. They're not in the state. They're in the stadium, but they're not like out. They're behind glass, right? It's more quiet back in that room, and so they can play more chess, be more calculated, be a puppet master. Momentum has to be calculated, he said. I showed you on that one touchdown drive, the runs that set up the passes, and in the drive there at the end of the game, how the quick passes turned into the big one at the end, right? That momentum was calculated. He did a great job of calculating that on Sunday, excuse me. Ken Dorsey did because he was up in the booth. He wasn't feeling the emotions of the game. He understood his personnel, and he calculated the momentum of the game, and it turned into big plays for the Browns. And he also said to me as well, Stefanski, um, at that time may have been their best play caller on the staff, but if you have a great OC, he can take a lot off the coach's plate, he told me, because the head coach deals with a lot. And he also told me pushback on a head coach is good. And so basically, he was saying to me when we talked about this, which was you want an offensive coordinator who knows what he's doing. Ken Dorsey's a former quarterback. A lot of former quarterbacks are usually pretty good head coaches or pretty good offensive coordinators as well, play callers, because they played the position behind center. They understand. Nobody probably understands more about what Jameis Winston was going through on Sunday than Ken Dorsey, because he's a former quarterback in the NFL. And so, and I think quarterbacks are statistically now get the most head coaching jobs, former quarterbacks, I believe. You have to look it up, and corners as well. But offensively, on the offensive side of the ball, I would want former quarterback involved in my offense because they understand a lot of what they're doing, obviously, because they were quarterbacks. And so, but again, I saw a lot of Kevin Stefanski to me on Sunday just looked a lot more at ease, and it reflected on the field. Ken Dorsey's Ken Dorsey being up in the booth and calculating momentum, not feeling the emotions of the game, reflected in the play calling on the field. Kevin Stefanski looking less stressed and had a lot of that taken off his plate last week because he gave up the play calling, or the play calling was taken from him, whatever one it was, we don't know. But it reflected on the field. There wasn't a whole lot of those crappy penalties. They looked a lot more organized. The team looked a lot more cleaner, more prepared, and it showed on the field. And so, to me, it's not a coincidence why the offense looks so much better on Sunday. And to me, it's because you put the play call sheet in the guys, you put the Waffle House menu in the guy's hands who made the Waffle House menu, who designed the meals, put the ingredients in it, right? It's like I said early in the year. If you took a chef at an Italian restaurant, you had a chef that he worked at Luigi's in Akron for 15 years, right? Cooking the same pizzas every night, salads, pastas, all that stuff, the rigatones, slicing up cooking the bread, the fresh baked bread. So good. And then you took them and put them in a Mexican restaurant all of a sudden the next night and said, all right, now cook the food. Well, he wouldn't know how to cook it. If all he did was work in the same Italian restaurant for 16 years, and all of a sudden you say, hey, we want to put you in a Mexican restaurant and you got to cook, he would have to take him it would take him probably a little while to get the hang of it, to learn it, because he's cooking different types of food. Yes, maybe same types of meat like chicken or beef, or there's some similar things, but it's two different you know two different cultures of food, two different restaurants. I mean, it's totally different. If you took the chef in the Italian restaurant, put him in the Mexican restaurant, and that's what we were trying to do. Kevin Stefanski was an Italian chef trying to cook food at a Mexican restaurant at Pancho and Lefty's, right? And it wasn't working out. But now he finally brought in the guy that made the menu at Pancho and Lefty's and knows the food, knows the culture, and is from it. And you see the results on Sunday with a more confident quarterback who stays in the pocket, who has 10 years of experience under his belt as well. And it's a pretty good leader. And so I think what they need to do going forward, if they want to continue having success, because you're going to face better passing defenses, is continuing to dominate the run game, continuing to commit to the run early on in the game, and call more of those wham blocks, pulling the guards, those great running schemes they had on Sunday, those good running plays, and just keep running the run game. Especially Chubb and Foreman are two hammers back there, two bigger guys, strong guys. I like those 1-2 punch. You're going to get Ford back as well, who could be another guy I could use. I would use all three of them and just keep running the ball, and keep calling those quicker passes, quicker routes like Ken Dorsey did on Sunday, and you'll get those shots down the field. And it's not a coincidence your defense finally played a great game Sunday. The best game they played all year was on Sunday, was because they weren't as gassed. You had longer drives. All you got to do is end each drive with a kick, right? A punt, a field goal, or an extra point. That's it. End each drive with a kick. And have some drives. And they had some drives on Sunday. Even the ones where they punted, they still had some drives, and it gave your defense some time to catch a break, because they got to go out there and chase Lamar Jackson around. And so that's their keys to success going forward, is what they did on Sunday. And so I want to see that going forward. I can't wait for this game on Sunday against the Chargers. I think if they want any shot of turning the season around, they got to win this game on Sunday, in my opinion. Especially going into the bye. So this Sunday is going to be a great test for them. It's going to be a great game at home. I think it's going to be nice out, the weather. I can't wait to watch it. Hope you guys enjoy it as well. And hope we see you guys Sunday on our Sunday Live post-game show. Come join us. You come up here and share your opinion as well. We've been having a great year so far on the show, and people are loving it. And I appreciate all the new subscribers as well tuning in. Hope you guys are liking this content. And like, subscribe, share all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out of here. Go.